Are we ready? Can we start now?
We're ready.
Get it. I'm Kelly Osbourne, and I am joined by my best friend,
Jeff Beecher.
And we have an amazing show for you this week. We're so happy that you've joined us for a second episode. We love you guys. We don't have a show without our listeners. You are our family. Our show today, we are joined by one of my favorite doctors in the world.
My absolute favorite doctor and one of my favorite people on the planet.
That's true. It's very true. Dr. Robert Huizenga.
Welcome. I think we should start doing claps and applause.
No, they'll put that in.
Oh, okay.
Jeff.
Dr. Huizenga, everybody. Woo!
You're making me blush now. Come on.
Okay, so today, Dr. Huizenga, we brought you on because we want to talk about weight loss because it's such a topic of conversation with Jeff and I. It's because people look at us now. We went from being the fat, angry people to people that...
I'm wearing Balmain and Balmain.
You're such a douche.
What's wrong with...
I'm wearing Balmain and Balmain.
Because it's like size medium.
Do you know what I'm fucking wearing?
Something very nice. You look beautiful
Zara.
today. Okay. I get it. It's all right.
You know, I don't care what...
I don't always have to wear expensive... my point by saying Balmain is I was never...
Balmain. Look at me.
No, meaning the pants and the
hanging
shirt.
on my nuts because I'm skinny now.
No, because these are skinny people clothing, so I'm very proud
I know what you mean. I you know what? I'll stop for a second and take that back because I know what that's like when you go to those stores and not one thing in there fits you.
When I used to shop at the Tall and Fat store, well, it's called Rochester Big and Tall or whatever it's called. And,
Did you know Jeff back then?
Yeah, of course.
I did. Yeah, was with his club. He was...
Theater.
Oh, yeah, you can't say
excuse
club.
me.
You have to say theater, otherwise he gets very upset.
What do I know? I'm a stupid doctor.
No. I was picking Dr. Huizenga's brain on everything from the vaccines and more weight loss stuff and the OCD before, because we were talking about how much of weight loss is mental.
It's all mental. I mean, that's our opinion anyway.
I think so.
Well, there's a lot of genetics that gets the ball rolling, and we've got an obesogenic world. And given our genetics, we can't handle it.
Yeah, no, I can't.
Can I just quickly talk about the Tall and Fat store? Sorry, the
Tall and Fat store.
No, I'll just finish the story. So for 15 years, I shopped there, and some of those years I was so fat, I couldn't even fit into the clothing there. It would be 5 or 6X, and then they would be stopped.
Was it the store that we used to go to here in Beverly Hills?
Yeah,
okay, I remember.
And I would be so angry. I felt so bad. I don't want to apologize now to the people in the store.
He was horrible to them in there.
It would not fit me, and I would yell it's their fault. I'd be like, what the fuck? Sorry for cursing. What the beep? I'd be like, this is bullshit. This place sucks. And nothing would fit, and I would get angrier and angrier. And then I outgrew the clothes a couple times in the fat store. So that's when I was like, all right, things are out of control. And then I'd lose 100 pounds, get to from 4 and change to 3 and change, and I'd be able to fit again. I'd be kind of happy. But at the end, when I lost all the weight, I go there and I was rushed it was some event and I needed a tuxedo, and I brought the tuxedo to get altered. I'm like, can you guys alter this? They're like, no, you don't shop here anymore. And I was like, that's so screwed up. I've been shopping here for 15 years and I was fat. You should be proud of me. They were mad at me that I don't shop there anymore.
That's funny.
Because I was skinny.
That is
so I
very
called
funny.
the president of the company, and I'm like, it's Jeff Beecher. And the assistant's like, who are you? They were in Boston or something. It's a multi-billion-dollar company. And the lady's like, who are you? I'm like, well, Google me. And then she Googled me, and then she put me on there. And the guy's like, how can I help you? I'm like, listen, I've been with you guys for 15 years. I lost 240 or 50 pounds at the time I go. And, I just don't think it's cool that you guys aren't nice to me now because I lost the weight. You should be
You
really...
called them and complained?
Yeah, I called them and complained. I go, you guys should have an incentive program for people that lose weight and give back.
Why? Their store is for bigger people.
I know, but say you lose weight, they should make you here's 1% back at the end of the 10 years or whatever. I don't know.
They hand you off to their sister weight loss company.
Yeah, I think so. Anyway.
Okay, so let's start with Jeff's weight loss journey. You've been with Jeff since the beginning of his weight loss journey, right?
A big chunk of it, yeah.
So what did you recommend for Jeff?
Well, Jeff, tell your story because, he basically went a lot of different places. And
yeah, so, I came to Doc when I was in L.A. I was referred by a good friend, Adam Goodman, if you recall. And then I met Doc, and then Doc was in the Biggest Loser, the television show. Not in, what you were
I was one of the consultants, one of the people on screen.
Yeah, well, people on the screen. Like, he's so smooth. This guy's the smoothest. By the way, in case you're listening to this audio, he's like super doctor. This guy's like good looking and like cool, and he's got the whole nine. The house in Malibu, overlooks the ocean. He's the man. We love you, Dr. Huizenga. Anyway,
can we just please stop for a second?
I love sucking the doc down.
Can
Why
you
am
just
I not
not? You literally are like S-ing the D right now. Stop.
We can beep it out.
Like the biggest kiss ass ever.
We know this.
You can't
this is my specialty.
Can we just not be douchey, Jeff, for like
How is
one
that
second?
That's I think you're being rude to me and my fans by calling me douchey.
Your fans.
By calling me douchey for complimenting a very dear friend of mine who helped save my life multiple times.
Okay, and why
You were
is
there
that?
when my finger got sliced open, and who do we drive to?
Dr. Huizenga. And then, oh my God, that was really funny.
So, I peaked out in 2013, 14 at around 440, something like that.
And he was very angry, but funny. But he was angry. You were very angry.
Yeah, it was a funny, angry factor.
At 440, the chance that you live a full life is 0. And the chance that, you die 25 plus years early is very real.
Every time I'd see you, you'd always subtly kind of drop those things like, you're only going to live.
It's a death sentence.
Yeah,
it's not
he uses all the buzzwords, death sentence, every...
But you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die.
No, you would just like lightly drop it. Every couple 100 pounds, you're overweight. It's just another 30, 40 years of your life. But yeah, it's fine, And then you'd always subtly just be like, come on, you got to exercise. So you got me into walking, and then you got me into running.
It's a lot like Scared Straight, Jeff. At a certain point, you got to scare them straight because you're looking at a person that is just not going to be on the planet, and they've got to know it. You can't be subtle.
Exactly.
They would call me Dr. Death on Loser. And, at a certain point, you can't be subtle anymore. You have to say, hey, Jeff, what are you doing in, 2030? I don't know. You're not going to be here, Jeff. You got to think along those terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I used to not, when I was really young, I used to be like, I'll be dead by the time I'm 35, but I'll live a rock star life. I used to literally say that all the time.
But it's the things that we tell ourselves. Isn't that insane? Like, it's the things that we tell ourselves so that, because there's a certain part of us, and I speak from experience when I say this, that is comfortable in the misery of being fat because it's what we know. And then because I will tell you, like, even now, I went and did this TV show last week and they styled me on it. And I was like, I don't wear dresses. I don't wear pink. And I was like, I couldn't wear that. I would never do that. They put me in this dress, and all of a sudden I was like, I wear pink, and I'm like a cupcake, and this is so much fun. And I'm sat there like, I've told myself that because I was bigger, I had to wear black all the time.
Oh my God, I had the same problem.
Yeah, I had to wear black all the time, and that I couldn't wear anything colorful.
I'm like, I had the same problem. I'm wearing all black.
I'm still wearing all black. No, I know. I'm like, I'm looking down at myself, still wearing all black.
Body dysmorphia.
But it's crazy. I still have it.
Cal, Apartments.com knows that we've been doing everything from home lately. Working, exercising, schooling your brother's kids. Eating breakfast,
Can you even
lunch.
remember a time where you've been home this much? Ever in your life?
Never.com.
Never.com.
And that's why I'm really grateful for Apartments.com.
It's given us a newfound appreciation of home. Like, you've redone your home, I have moved, and it's made you realize that the space that you live in is so important to you. And if you're in that place right now, like many people are, where you're like, okay, I can't live in these same four walls. I need something new. And you don't know what that new is, go to Apartmentscom. They have the most listings, whether you want a condo, a house, a studio, you want a duplex, whatever it is you're looking for, they have it. And they have this incredible 3D virtual tour that is, to me, I never, ever want to go to a house again if they have these tours. Like, what's the point?
You get a lot of inspiration from it for, like, your current house. Like, I love it so much. I've been searching through all the hallways and
I think you've looked through every lobby in Miami. It's crazy.
On their virtual tours. It's amazing. We love Apartments.com.
Apartments.com, the most popular place to find a place. But for the people at home listening, Jeff and I have always been fully honest about how we lost weight. We did bariatric surgery. We had the gastric sleeve done. And it is not a quick fix. It is a lot of work. I did a year of therapy before I committed to doing it. I stopped. I was almost 2 years sober before I had the surgery.
And I don't want to scare anyone to not do it, but for me, it was about 5 years before I did it. I went to get it. I ran out of the hospital. I ran out of the surgery center. Finally, I did it one time. A friend of mine took me to the hospital really early. I'll never forget that one. And then finally, I got the surgery. And what I always say to everyone is the surgery is just it's one Band-Aid. It's one thing that'll help you. And
it's like a comfort blanket.
Thing.
Like
yeah.
it's there to.
It's a part of the whole treatment.
And the thing is that when you go to do the surgery, if it's something anybody who's listening right now wants to do, there's a reason why they tell you every single thing on there and that they have so many rules, because if you don't do one of those things can happen and go wrong. Like, for example, you have to be really careful with your protein intake after surgery.
Oh, yeah.
Really, really careful, because you will lose all of your hair if you are not careful.
I lost hair.
A lot of people lost hair, and they say, like, the groups that they put you in before, where you meet other people who are doing the surgery, stay connected to those people, because you need other people around you who are going through what you're going through, because your relationship with food will drastically change, and for a bit you grieve it. It's weird. Like, your mind is so used to consuming such large amounts, and then you go to eating like a baby and having to like retrain yourself, and with like mushy foods and soft foods, and then you slowly build up to being able to have more solid food.
See, where you did therapy and you were 2 years sober before it, I went to a vegan institute, and I learned how to eat vegan. I went vegan, raw vegan. I started doing therapy also, and that's the biggest thing. That's what actually made me make good decisions, like get the surgery instead of run out in the surgery, which is therapy. Fixing your head is everything. Yes, there's lots of different tools like getting a surgery and exercising and eating right and all that, but fixing your head, in my opinion.
Well, that's what I always say: mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
You have to do the mind, then you can do the body, and then you get the soul.
Oh, I still got to work on that soul thing.
I'm on the soul part now too, and I keep fucking up. So it's like, do you want to talk about? Can I tell you?
The only thing I'd like to back up even a little bit, because why did you and Jeff get in that position? Because I think you guys have taken and really illustrate what you have to do once you're way behind the 8 ball. But I think the scariest thing to me is,
how did I get there?
Yeah, how did you get there? And how did the country get where we are? Because the real treatment is to never get where you two were. And that starts, we have studies in college kids, sedentary, normal weight college kids that don't have any comorbidities, that aren't smoking cigarettes, and up to a quarter of them have what we call insulin resistance already at that part of their lives, because of the diet they eat, because of their lifestyle, not necessarily the sedentary lifestyle. They take in food and they can't metabolize it. They have sick metabolic systems. And we now know, yeah, you have to be worried about high sugar, because if sugar goes too high, it grabs hold of your cells, the cells get digested, and you age quicker. That's the problem with diabetes. That's the problem with prediabetes. It's a premature aging system. But the primary problem is too much insulin. So when your insulin goes up, and this happens in thin individuals in college.
That was going to be my next question.
You don't have to be overweight to have the problem.
Okay. That's so interesting.
And then once you have high insulin, that's what causes premature heart disease, increased risk of Alzheimer's, increased risk of cancer. All these diseases, we can stop 80% of diseases. We can keep you out of doctor's office 80% of the time if we start early and do the right things. We're talking about how you save somebody that's that's had so many errors, they've gained an extra 100, 200, 300 pounds. But we have to work way before that. Prevention.
So basically, I can tell you is that for me, I was newly sober. I went from being an extremist in everything to an extremist in nothing. And I started to comfort myself with food. And then what I had realized is, I can't remember the name of the hormone, so maybe you'll be able to help me. But it's the hormone that your body produces when you're in starvation mode.
Well, there's a lot of, there's leptin and ghrelin.
Yeah, all of that. Okay,
there's 12 different appetite and hunger hormones.
So all of those hormones, when I stopped taking Adderall every day, were overreacting.
They're screaming.
And they were like, you're starving. So anything that I ate turned into fat. So my body was like, what is going on? And it took them a really long time to figure out what was going on with me. And once they figured that out, they were like, oh, here's your options. You can go on this crazy medication, or we could just cut the hormone out. And then I was like, how do you do that? And then they explained to me the surgery. And then I realized that it was Jeff that had the surgery as well. And Jeff's like, you have to do it. It'll change your life. And I was terrified. I was like, no, I think that's really extreme. I'm kind of against surgeries. I don't really want to do it. And then I started to see how it changed Jeff's life. And I saw how once you can get that freedom of the obsession, because I will tell you, once that hormone was cut out of my body, that obsession was gone. My relationship with food completely changed. And I didn't look at it as a way to comfort myself or punish myself anymore. I only look at food as a way to fuel myself now. Unless you're Jeff Beecher, who I catch face fucking food on the side of the street at 9:30 p.m. last night.
You know, it would be much better if I had a non-conspicuous car. Like,
No, I know.
like the 1958 black on black Corvette a block away from your house outside
so
the
a block away
convenience
from
store.
my house, outside
chowing down
I
on
wanna hear
Pringles
this
and
story.
pretzels and Gatorade.
So I literally, I'm sat there and I'm like at the light. And I'm like,
This is last night, Doc. Of course.
and we hadn't even seen each other. We hadn't even spoken. And I go, that car looks like Jeff's car. And I pull up next to it. And I roll down my window. He's sat there, and I'm not even joking. Face fucking, like food, like Pringles, pretzels. And he's like, and I look over and I was like, you're right. And he just starts laughing. And I start laughing so hard I had to pull over. And I fall out of my car because I'm still laughing. And he's like, why? How is it that I go and I cheat on my diet and you of all people just roll up right next to me? And then I went, I was like, I have to fucking leave because I have to pee so bad because I'm laughing. And then I go home, I'm lying in bed and I'm still laughing because it's just like, of course. He cheats and he's like, you've never seen anything like it. He was like shoving it.
No,
in
it
his
was
mouth
like when I was
was
400 pounds. I
Yeah.
was still stressed out from work. We want to talk about what?
Yeah.
But I was a little and you know, and this goes to show like everyone like food is a drug. And what did I go to? I was stressed out. I was annoyed. I didn't work out. My body's still hurting, so I haven't been able to do my intense workouts. And because I had a leg surgery, for those of you guys just tuning in, where I had the skin cut off. What? Why?
Hey,
You?
because we're not allowed to talk about the leg surgery anymore. It's all we talk about.
This is a new podcast.
Okay,
We just
but
deleted
okay.
the other ones.
But you
Okay,
have a
whenever-
classic binging thing, Jeff. We know that.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
a binger, and binging is in the kind of the brain trying to get that dopamine, pleasure
But you know what-
center.
You know what I do at my house?
There's
So-
drugs, there's gambling, all these things hit that same button.
I know.
And you've got it. And I used to hear the same story on Loser. We would have people, and they were too embarrassed to get all that food at one drive-in place. So they'd drive into, In-N-Out, and they'd get 2 servings. Then they'd drive down the street to McDonald's. Then they'd drive down the street to Wendy's. And they'd load it all up, and then they'd eat their 6 meals all in the car before they go
No, see,
somewhere where people might see them.
That wasn't me. I wasn't that bad. My weight, my weight came from not exercising, drinking alcohol, and just eating late night. I'm telling you, I only had
Jeffrey
pretzels
Beecher,
and
you're
potato
so
chips.
fuck full of shit. I can't even handle it.
I-
I can't, like,
Kelly,
we are best friends. You
I didn't drive to 4
No,
drive-ins. What are
not
you
4
talking about?
drive-ins, but like you didn't just get 400 pounds because you drank and ate late at night. You could pack
That's
it
a full-time
in.
job, Jeff.
Like
400 pounds is
you
a full-time
could pack
job.
It in.
Okay, maybe I blocked it out of my memory.
No,
right?
like this is like
This
healthy
isn't the
Jeff-
abused
No.
Jeff Beecher starring Kelly Osbourne show, okay?
No, but like honestly, we were both the same. And then it would be like, whenever we're bored, you want to go to lunch, you want to go this. And sometimes I'd find myself having 3 lunches in one day.
Yeah, I did a lot of. Well, that was being the face of hotels. I'd always do like a couple lunches, a couple dinners, and then to stay awake, I'd drink vodka Red Bull every night. That was my go-to.
Yeah.
But it's the vicious cycles we get ourselves into and the habits that we form when we're young that stay with us for life. And I think that it's all about breaking those cycles and starting fresh and committing to a life change. I know that people always like, I need to go on a diet. Diets don't exist. They don't work.
Diets have been tried for millennia, and there's never been a diet on itself that's been successful long term. There's a lot of diets that work short term,
Yeah.
lots. Not one diet on its own has ever worked long term.
No.
But just to go back with something you said, Kelly, about you were presented with the options. You were overweight. There's a lot of reasons why you got there, and my big thing is prevention. But let's just take people that are in a position where they're 50 pounds overweight, 20 pounds overweight, 100 pounds overweight. It's sad to me that people aren't giving the full range of options, because I have to say up front, bypass surgery saves lives. People that are 50 to 100 pounds, if they do one of these types of surgeries, and gastric sleeve is one of the better ones, they are going to live longer. But the sad thing to me is you're cutting a big chunk out of your stomach. You're changing your ability to absorb critical nutrients. And as you said, you need lifelong follow-up. It's sad to me that that's our go-to, because the real go-to should be psychiatric help, some sort of system where you're incentivized to exercise every day, not 3 times a week or twice a week, and you're incentivized to eat the right way. Why isn't that part of the description? Let's take COVID right now. How come nobody talks about losing weight and eating right? That's about as effective as a vaccine. But no one wants to touch that.
They don't, because we live in a world of instant gratification, and people don't want to sing for their supper anymore, for lack of a better term. Everything is instant. Everything is in the palm of our hands. And I think that that's the one great thing about COVID, is that it's taught us to kind of sit back, learn a bit of patience, and kind of address the things that are most important to you. All of the things that aren't important kind of fell by the wayside for me anyway. And I think that when it comes to weight loss, there's so much shame about it as well, that I know for me, it was like, oh my God, if I'm fat, like, people are going to hate me. They won't look at me, and I'm disgusting. And it's crazy, the social standard with fat. And just that word alone, it's not a word I like even saying. And do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's...
Of course.
It's a personal journey. It's a lonely journey. It's a tough journey. But the payoff is so worth it. And that's why I say you have to have a lifelong commitment. And it's little baby steps. Like, I never thought I'd be able to drink a protein shake. And then I tried some all different ones, and I found one that I really liked. And now I drink one every day. I never thought I'd like drinking vegetable juices. I love them. I never thought that I would enjoy hiking. I love it. Like, it's all different things that you learn to really have fun with it. And there's ways of working out that don't feel like working out as well.
I just want to touch back on something you said about being ashamed about being overweight. I never, as a thin person my whole life, I never really got that. And I'll never forget the day, I think it was like in 2006, so not that long ago, I had to work out a group of about 20 losers, and we were on the beach in Hermosa, and we were all jogging. We had 20.
Maybe you should say the biggest loser.
I was
Biggest
just thinking.
loser.
I was like, wait, just so you guys are aware, I was like, the same thought. I was like, when he says losers, he's not talking about like fat loser people. He's talking about The Biggest Loser, the TV show. Okay.
So we're out jogging, and literally people are saying, "Hey, fat ass." I had never realized the abuse.
Oh, you've no idea.
Oh my God.
It's
morbidly
horrible.
overweight.
Doc,
I was in
do you remember
shock.
what happened to me on
I knew
Southwest?
black people. I had no idea people would on the street say "fat ass" to you, to your face.
Oh
I
my
had
God.
no idea. That shocked me.
I was driving in my car, and my window was down, and I'd have people tell me that Keller is one, you fat fucking bitch, or you fat kill yourself, and like all like every day on my
realize
Instagram,
the shit that you
social
take.
media, it's crazy.
Well, I used to always get, whenever I was in like an obnoxious convertible, like an old Rolls Royce or something, I'd be driving, and my friends would always laugh because they'd be in the car and people would drive by and be like, "You fat asshole." I'm like, and I would get
That shocks me.
I
never knew
times
that.
a day. And then the other thing I got, which is this is crazy. There's some kind of like
I totally
phobia
remember that.
at
when
Southwest.
they'd be like, you fat asshole.
No.
And you didn't even do anything.
Wow.
No, but Doc, I went
that blows me away.
Doc, on Southwest, there was this one woman that would work, and when I was going back and forth and headlining in Vegas, there was this one woman that worked there that would not let me on the planes because she said I was too big. And it was the craziest thing. So the first time it happened.
Oh my God, I totally forgot about this
The
woman.
first time it happened, I was walking on. I'm like, do. And like, it was like Friday afternoon, all bachelor and bachelorette parties. This is like the peak of
No wonder he was so mad.
This is the peak of my theater career, Doc. Everyone in LA knows me, right?
Right.
So it's like 30, 40 people there. All beach, what's up? Hey, see you guys at the show. And I'm walking. I'm like, do. And then the lady's like, where's your second ticket? I go, my second ticket? What are you talking about? She's like, we're sold out and you can't get on the plane. You're too big to fit in the seat. I go, listen, lady, I literally fly in this thing like 5-6 times a week. Like, I'm fine in the seat. She's like, no, you're too big. You need a second seat and we're sold out. You're going to have to wait probably till tomorrow to fly because I think we're sold out for the rest of the night. I go, I'm going on the plane. I just keep walking. And I sit down on the plane. And they have cops come on and everything, and they take me off.
Oh my God!
And then I speak to the supervisor, and the woman's like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Listen, I don't even use double at that point. At that time, I didn't have the double seatbelt thing, and because
because usually you need the seatbelt extender, and that's always embarrassing.
I might be big, but I could still use one seatbelt. Like I was like proud of it. They're like, she's like, "I'm so sorry. Like we'll definitely get you on the next flight out." I'm like, "All right." So then they're like, "We're gonna reprimand her. You'll never see her again here." I was like, "Great." Month later, I'm just walking, and I don't even remember what she looked like. Then she just stops me again, and I was like, "Oh, you!" And I keep walking. I got on the tarmac, like I didn't even make it onto the plane, and a team of cops around me, and I'm like,
God.
it was like I was a drug dealer. Like it was crazy. They're like, "Freeze!" I'm like, "Yo!" and then
Maybe they wanted to freeze the fat off you.
Yeah, and then I thought it was just so mean and rude. Like I called my attorney. I'm like, can't we just sue them? Can we do anything, like for just PR just to annoy them? All the money goes to like a weight loss charity or something. He's like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no? Like you can't do anything. And then I just couldn't fly in Southwest anymore. I was like petrified at this woman because I was so fat.
Wow.
But it's like we laugh about that now, but like it's demoralizing. It's horrible. Like you must have.
Well, you know what? You can't go to a gym then. If you feel that way, and I didn't realize why you would, how are you going to go to a gym and have your stomach bouncing a little bit when you go on a machine?
That's exactly what
like
it
if
was
you're
for me.
ashamed, you can't even go in the street and work out. So how are you ever going to lose weight with that attitude? It's the country owes everybody that's been overweight a giant apology.
I
what
agree
they
with
did.
you on that. I 100% agree with you on that. It's insane to me how people aren't encouraging. They'd rather point fingers.
They should be going, They should be going, get it done.
Like how I say,
What's
get
with
it,
that?
get it. Like, come on. Like, I love seeing people try. I love seeing people want to come through the other side. I love an underdog.
Absolutely.
I don't understand why.
People want to keep you down, I guess.
And it's fat phobia. It's fat phobic. And you see, like, and that's the whole thing. It's like, you don't like what you see when you look in the mirror. So you don't want to go and look in the mirror. And
so you don't want to record it and you want to do something
And
about
you
it because you
don't
got to
wanna-
stay in your house.
I used to literally, I felt so numb when I go I wouldn't want to look in the mirror, and there would be mirrors all over the bathroom, and I didn't want to look at them. And then
did you ever do the shower in the dark?
I always showered.
Oh, shower in the dark. I
And
used to do
then
the same
on
thing.
top
That's so
no,
sad. And
that-
no
on
wonder
top of it,
depression sets in.
I would think I wasn't alive. That was when I was at my fattest, like the last run in Vegas when I was like 2000.
I know the feeling where the hot water is pouring down your
'cause
face,
I'd be like,
and you're like,
am I alive? Am I dead? This is like, I didn't know what was going on. It was like, I literally thought I was dead. It was the
Well, then you
craziest
get the
feeling.
other thing is at that weight, Jeff, you get sleep apnea. And so you're not getting good sleep. And
you
now
have
we
no
know
idea how bad his sleep
if you
apnea was.
never have sleep, now you get depressed and anxious.
I remember the worst it was I was taking like a dozen Tylenol PMs, 3 Ambiens, and I was like, and I would wake up after like 30 seconds
You're
of sleep.
lucky you're on this planet right now,
I
Jeff,
know.
from where you were.
It is amazing how far you've come, Jeff.
When people that are really overweight like start talking to me, I just hug them. I'm like, I know. I'm like, and I look them in the eyes. I'm like, I know what's going through. It's your head. And I tell them, because like for me, I want to talk about mental therapy because my biggest therapy moment, and this I hope will help people because it helped me. I always resisted therapy. I'm like, I'm fine. Therapy's for losers, for years. And I go, and I'll never forget. I walk into this one therapy session, and the sky was dark. It was just evil. Like when I walked in, everything was like angry, and I walk in with this guy, and I hated the therapy session. But I don't remember what he said that broke me down. But he was like, all right, well, when did you gain weight the first time? And then he kept asking me questions like when I was my heaviest, when I lost weight. And then he's like, okay, so you have abandonment issues. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you gained weight when you were told when you were 12 that you were adopted. He's like, you gained weight 100 pounds when your mother died. You gained 100 pounds when your father died. And you gained 100 pounds when your best friend died and your partner. I was like, holy shit. I was like, I got abandonment and insecurity issues. That's it. And I was just so happy. And I remember I walked out of the therapy session. I'm like, I don't need therapy anymore. Birds were chirping. The sun was shining. And I was like, holy shit, that was it. And literally, that's when the weight flew off. I lost 120 pounds. When I got the stomach surgery, I kept doing therapy. And then it was like, it was on. Just
And then
understand
COVID
it.
happened, and we turned into
What? Healthy?
no, aviator.
Oh, the OCD. But the OCD also was good because the reason why I got so healthy during Corona and I lost the last 60 pounds and I got the leg surgery was the OCD was so bad, which we can get into in a second. And I go to the doc. What was the drug you wanted to put me on? Prozac or something?
Well, there's some of the SSRIs.
Yeah, I have. See, I'm on an SSRI for my my looping
and I said,
problem.
Doc, we took so long to get me off drugs. You can't get me back on drugs right now. And he goes, well, the only thing you can do. I go, what's the holistic way to treat OCD? He's like, you got to work out for an hour a day. So I did 4 hours a day.
Exercise.
So I did 4 hours a day, worked out, cardio.
Do you see? But can we just stop for 1 second? Do you see how abnormal that is?
What?
He tells you to work out for an hour, and you go from, I'll just do 4 hours then.
Okay, but who cares?
We're just breaking it down.
But it worked.
No. I'm saying, but like, do you see how?
I'm wearing mediums. What's up?
Yeah.
See, I didn't say Balmain. I said medium.
No.
I didn't say double Balmain. I said medium.
With all my projects, my number one mission is always just striving to be myself. And when you visit European Wax Center, you get the best of the best. European Wax Center certified wax specialists are expertly trained in preparing, protecting, and pampering your skin. Bikini waxing is their particular specialty. They do over 7.5 million bikinis a year. Jeffrey, are you going to be getting a bikini wax this summer?
I mean, now that I have my new body, I probably should be, Kelly.
Can I give you a bikini wax this summer?
I'd love that.
The secret to their signature comfort wax, and they say comfort wax because it really is a comfort wax. It's a proprietary blend of beeswax sourced from Europe and other skin-soothing ingredients that allow for easy hair removal for a less painful experience. And let me tell you, it is so much less painful. European Wax Center is so confident you'll love their services. They're offering all first-time guests their first wax free. How sick is that?
That's exciting.
Visit waxcenter.com and book your reservation today. Your first wax is free.
You better hold my hand. This is scary, but
I'm doing it. I can't hold your hand. Visit waxcenter.com and book your reservation today. No, but it's true. When
there's just something magical. I got to get my little spiel.
You know what's
about
magical, Doc?
exercise.
You're fucking magical, my man. The fact that you're here, I'm in the best mood since we've been doing these podcasts. Love my best friend
Jeff's
Kelly, even though she caught me with
sucking
pretzels
the dick again.
and potato chips last night
Sucking the
on the
dick.
side of the road. That's like a crackhead in like a crack
No, it
den.
was you were. It was like literally. It was like it was crackhead, like trying to find the last rock.
But carbohydrates are heroin.
But do you know what the chances of receiving me at like 8:27 on the
same
side
receptor.
of the road? Like the chances of you bumping into me is like hitting lottery.
It was so funny. I literally was like, I was on a work call as well, and I was like, hold on, I have to call you back. And I pulled over to the side. It was so funny because you were like, it was like, give me the last line. You know,
Listen, in my own defense, my house is perfectly set up. Like I go home, there's like 10 green juices, salads. There's not one unhealthy thing in the house. And I'm like, oh.
Oh, do you know what I do though in the middle of the night?
What?
I have found out that when I got stressed out, I sleep eat. And it's not even that, I know I'm doing it. It's not like I'm fully asleep, but like my decision making isn't quite there, if that makes sense. And like, I just walk to the fridge, like half asleep in the middle of the night. So now I've had to start leaving like a salad or like something healthy that's like easy for me to pick up, because I will find something in the back of my freezer or something that is, I'm like, I didn't even know I had this.
Yeah, some people almost sleepwalk. You almost have to get a lock, get a chain your refrigerator.
Do you know who else does the same thing? Is my dad. Because I told my mom that I've been doing it. She goes, oh my God, you're just like your father. Your father's been doing that for years. And I'm like, sometimes I wake up and I look at my bedside table and I'm like, I made that last night?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah, you know what? You have to try to break that, because one of the new things that we didn't know like a decade ago is your body kind of has two big levers. One lever is eating, digesting, and that's kind of a grow mode. And the other is fasting and DNA healing and regeneration. So we're really trying to sneak that digestion part of the day into maybe a 6 or at most an 8-hour window. So people that eat in the middle of the night and all that bullshit before about, eat every 3 hours, then you won't get hungry. That's all garbage. You want to minimize that window.
So I do intermittent fasting, and
well, not when you're eating in the middle of the night.
No,
you're not.
I know, and I have found the benefits of that to be incredible. Like
I agree.
Like in the morning, I'm so much more alert. I'm so much more like, I feel like I have more energy.
You don't need breakfast.
No, I don't. Okay, so thank you.
I haven't had
Every
breakfast this
doctor.
morning,
I
Jeff.
haven't either.
I'm like raring to go. You know, you work out and you do your fast, and then you start in at about noon.
Yeah, that's what we do, noon to 8, and then that's it.
When I'm in the zone, right now I'm not in the zone. I got to get back in the zone. We got to
Well, you-
really kick me into
You're
it.
in
You
the
weren't
red
the
zone now.
last night. You were in the pretzel,
No.
Pringle.
He was in the
junk
red
food.
zone,
Yeah,
Kelly.
He was.
No, but when I'm in the zone, which is going to come any moment now,
Any moment.
I do.
The clock's ticking.
I do intermittent fasting, as we all know. I drink green juice and my lemon water, and then at noon I'll have protein and a salad, and then 3 hours later.
When you eat clean, you eat really clean, and that to me is always impressive because I'll still get the salad with the croutons. You won't.
Yeah.
And he is really good, and that's where like I'm grateful to you because we check each other in that way.
We always do.
But
kinda
because
funny.
and it's weird, like he'll
That's
come in-
another thing. Friends, acquaintances that are on that same page, that understand, that help. Do you know how much of an aid that is? People
That's
on
why
their
I
own.
said, if
It's
you do the
almost
surgery-
impossible. You lose weight, and all your
No.
overweight friends are mad at you. You need support, and it's massive.
Yeah, no, we were talking about this with her friend who's an addiction specialist, right? And I brought up weight loss, and she's like, "Don't talk about weight loss right now. This is about addiction." And I'm like, "Well, Kel, weight loss needs
Same
it
vein.
needs the same kind of support and the same
Yep.
kind of group. Like, you know, it's not like think about it easy. If you're an alcoholic to get help, but if you're an overeater, it's not. Where's the help? Where do you go? You know, people just say, "Oh, get your shit in order. Just get healthy." You know.
You cannot get healthy unless your mind is healthy. So you have to start with the mind in whatever it is that you're doing.
I get it, but my point is that there's so much help available for drug problems and alcohol problems. It's not, and
This
not
whole
for food.
country, it's totally, we don't have really good exercise experts. We have trainers. We don't have exercise experts. The dietitians are kind of, I think, in the wrong mode. You know,
And
they're not.
it's so strange to me because everyone's like, breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I have learned that's not true. If you're a child, it's true, but not if you're an adult. And
We're not even sure if it's true for a child.
really,
No. This whole thing about, oh, your kid's got to have a full stomach to go to school, that slows them down in a certain way. There's something about fasting that heals the body, that regenerates it. That's a huge thing to keep you healthier. And this whole thing
Slowed me
about,
down when I was a kid. My full stomach.
yeah, it's, you know, there's something about fasting that makes you more alert. But you got to have exercise, has to be a component. And this
It
whole
has to
thing
be.
about the wimping out of America and, oh, it's okay if you walk 3 times a week. No, it's not. That's better than nothing, but that's not enough to counteract the obesogenic environment we live in.
Yeah.
And so we have to stop kind of saying, oh, that's great. Oh, you walk twice a week. Oh, you play golf once a week. That's good. That's better than nothing, but that is not enough.
It's not enough.
And I just want to throw out one little study that we did from Biggest Loser that, to me, brings a lot of this home. As you know, we had universal success with old-fashioned, eat better, eat less, work out every day.
I was just going to say portion control.
99% of people lost 80 pounds or more. The problem was, at the end of 6 years, when we followed them up, obviously a number of people slide back. Number one, they have no support.
Yeah.
This country is the worst for support. Doctors don't have enough time to do it. Trainers aren't knowledgeable enough to take care of people that have lost a huge amount of weight. They're just into keeping people where they started out at. They don't know how to prevent a backslide. And so what we found was the people that worked out 15 minutes a day on average, which is still a lot, that's basically a half an hour every other day, they gained all of their weight back. The people that maintained a huge amount of weight loss worked out on average 70 minutes a day. Now that's not easy, but that's something we have in a fact. And so if you lose a huge amount of weight, you can keep it off, but you got to work out a lot. You can't work out a half an hour 3 times a week, and that's a myth. So either you do the full boat and you get the full results long term, or you don't, and no one's there to help them. Like Jeff said, we don't have the emotional support. We don't have the exercise support. There's no exercise doctors. I'm embarrassed. I went to Harvard Med School, and I'm talking to people about eating better and working out. It's an embarrassment. My colleagues are doing heart transplants and liver transplants. I'm like telling people, gee, you're not eating right and you should work out. It's almost sad. Yeah. But that's what will prevent them from needing a liver transplant from fatty liver, prevent them from needing a heart transplant from coronary artery disease, and prevent them from being in a nursing home from Alzheimer's disease.
Yeah. So much of this as well, which I'm learning because of my father having Parkinson's, is that a lot of these illnesses start from bacteria in your gut. And so one thing that I also do every day now is I take probiotics every single day, because if you can keep your gut healthy, then the rest of your body will be healthy too. And when you think about it, I always look at it like you take a shower every single day to wash your body. So drink water so you can clean your insides. That's
you brush your teeth every day to keep your teeth clean. Walk, exercise for an hour every day, just like you would brush your teeth, even if you don't get a high from it. I think Jeff gets
so
an
happy
endorphin
about
thing.
this podcast today, guys. This got me re-pumped up. I need no more pretzels and Pringles on the side of the road.
And we all fall back. I do shit, bad stuff. You know, I'll have a chocolate
everything
day.
Happens for a reason. Today was the day to get me back on track. I'm so happy.
It's because you got busted last night.
It doesn't matter. But it all happened in a progression to lead up to today's talks, and I'm really excited. I'm gonna start Monday. Now I'm gonna start being healthier today. But
you're gonna start today.
No. But I'm saying,
forget the Monday stuff.
Let me finish what Monday is. Monday is I'm gonna do my Instagram 90-day posting thing again. I did
Why?
great.
Okay, this is again.
It puts myself in check.
I get this, but this is again what we do as FFPs, former fat people, where we're like, oh no, we'll do this on Monday, and I can build it up to Monday.
I just said.
I know this, but I'm not. Let me finish.
I'm almost gonna agree with Kelly on this one.
Of course, everyone agrees with Kelly.
We do this whole thing
So
where
annoying.
shut up, Jeff. Where we build up this like, I'll do it this day because that we can be comfortable with, and we build it up, and then that day comes around, and we're like,
maybe next day, right?
Okay.
Yeah, maybe
next
week.
So to clear my name here of not falling into that, I said I'm going to be healthy as of today, but on Monday I'm going to start the 90-day workout so I can May 1st it and boom.
Let me just say one thing though, Jeff. I know where I'm going to work out, not only for the next 90 days, but for the next 180, 365, because I work out 7 days a week. So I know when I wake up, I'm going to work out. It's cool that you post because you're helping a lot of people. But you have to know now, maybe you're a person that wants to work out 6 days a week. So you know every Friday or Monday or Saturday you're not going to exercise. But I believe as we all sit here talking, we should all know where we're going to work out every day for the next year, because you've got to have a plan right now.
It's interesting that you say that, because it's something that my boyfriend has started to do. And he's like, I have to commit to something every single day. So he started to do jump rope and with weighted ropes.
The toughest exercise ever.
And his body has changed within like 2 months. It's insane. He's got like an 8-pack now. And it's just like, he's not doing that much different. He's just doing his jump rope every single day.
Consistency.
And the reason he picked it is because he can take that jump rope with him no matter where he goes anywhere in the world. Like you can't.
You can also take steps anywhere you go. You know, you can, when you go to a hotel, people go, "Oh, I didn't like the gym." I'm like, "Did they have a stairway?"
Yeah.
Go up and down it nonstop.
Yeah.
Right after you wake up, and then go to your meetings.
And that's something like I started to read this book. I think it's called The 5 a.m. Theory, where it's about, and it's kind of like, I don't know if that's the exact name of the book, but it shows like about how all the most successful people in the world, and it shows their schedules, and they all get up at 5, and the first thing they do is work out and or meditate. And I
or
think
both.
They do both, yeah. And I think those two things to have in everyday life is so important. And I didn't believe in meditation, and then I got the Calm app, and I did this like 21-day course. And then I learned that it takes 21 days for you to create a habit, and then 3 months for it to be a lifelong commitment. And I think that when you think like, if you just do something for 21 days, it becomes habitual. And if you can do it for 3 months, you'll do it for the rest of your life. Why not? It's not that hard.
It's funny that you mention that, because that's one of my theories too, just jumping back to the weight loss, is maybe we need to send people that are overweight, if we want to try something before bariatric surgery, we need to send them somewhere to do regular exercise, to teach them how to cook, to teach them how to eat. And then after 21 days, they can get a habit and they have a chance. If I tell someone exactly what to do in a 60-hour medical exam, that's not enough. We know that. And if I go with you for one day and show you what to do, that's not even enough. So maybe I think it's even much more cost efficacious than surgery, which is a lifelong, scarring procedure. I really favor a 21-day out-of-home experience as something everyone should do before they get bariatric surgery, because I think that's not going to eliminate bariatric surgery, but it might markedly lower the number of people that need it.
I still needed it, but that's what I did with the vegan retreat, and I was trained the same thing. 30 days creates a habit, 90 days creates a lifestyle, and it did. It was, 30 days totally. And before that, I lived in hotels for almost 20 years. So I had no
room
kitchen.
service. You had
I had room service and bread and shitty food.
Have you
fake
ever seen the way Jeff cooks?
Fake salad.
No, I
It
haven't.
is so funny. Jeff just turns the stove on and just chucks stuff. He'll just be throwing stuff into stuff. I'm like, how? And then he opens the oven and doesn't put it on a tray or anything. Just chucks it in there. I'm like, what are you doing?
That's totally how I cook.
I'm like, what are you doing? You can't eat like
That's
this.
The Bachelor.
It's not normal. And first thing I do when I go to your house every time is clean your kitchen counter and your stove, because you just chuck things on there.
and if the trays are dirty, I just throw it on the stove.
I know you do. I've seen it all.
I think he's trying to help his microbiome with all the stuff growing in there, when he takes that out. That
It
may be
is so funny. What did he tell you what he did after his leg surgery?
He may have, but
God.
humor me with it.
So I'm there looking after him, and he's like, we need to go for a hike. And I'm like, we ain't going for a hike. He's like, no, I need to get the blood flowing. I'm like, you don't need the blood flowing. You've just had half your skin cut off. No. And so
Yell at him.
we
He's the
ended
one
up
that told me
going
about blood
on.
flowing.
We went to the end of the block and came back again. And then he's like, I'm dehydrated. I'm like, you're not dehydrated. We just walked to the corner and back again. Just sit down and shut up. And then he had somebody there having a meeting with him about stocks and Bitcoin and all these different
Oh, Stowe's over.
yeah. And then he's looking at you like you're insane. In between half the conversations, he's nodding out from the pain medication. And then he's like, I'm dehydrated. I'm like, fine, I'll get you one of your because I made him these Pedialyte pops, froze Pedialyte. And he's like, they're not coming out. I'm not joking you. I turned around to walk to get something from the other room and come back again. And in that time, he had taken the plastic Pedialyte things and put them in the fucking oven. And I'm like, what is that smell? I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, I open up the oven and the plastic is just pouring and melting and there's smoke and the oven is on
In
fire.
my defense, I was just drugged and put it under for 12 hours 2 days earlier.
But he was trying to get the ice pops.
I was trying to get the ice
closed.
pops out of the plastic. It's a normal thing to do.
It's not normal.
And I just forgot it was in the oven. I mean,
He's
come on.
normal for a crazy guy.
Oh my God. And I was just like, this is insane. Sit down, stop talking, relax. You've had surgery.
Okay, fair enough.
This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. Sometimes things get difficult, especially today. Is there something interfering with your happiness? Is it preventing you from achieving your goals? Well, don't worry. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Yep, we're not alone, Kel. There's
You're
help.
not alone. There is help out there. I can't tell you how valuable talk therapy has been for me during this pandemic.
It's really, really helped me going to their webpage, betterhelp.com, and just, getting assigned a therapist. I didn't even like the first couple therapists I worked with, and I found one I clicked with, and it's been a game changer.
Such a game changer. BetterHelp will access your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 48 hours.
Oh, it took me exactly a day and a half, and I was set. And then I started talking to a therapist once a week. It was great.
One of the best things, to know that at any time of day, if you have a problem, if there's something that you need help with, they are just a click away. You'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so you won't ever have to sit in an uncomfortable waiting room as with traditional therapy. Join the over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of experienced professionals. Our listeners get 10% off the first month of online therapy at betterhelp.com/Osbourne. That's betterhelp.com/OSBOURNE.
I'm normal for crazy. Let's move on. Let's keep helping our fans.
Just so that people understand, like when you lose a lot of weight, you do a lot of the time have loose skin or excess skin. And Jeff decided to do a surgery where they get rid of the extra skin, where a lot of, I didn't have that.
Yeah, mine was really bad. My legs were like a 400-pound person's legs, and I was 200 pounds.
Everybody comes back in at a different rate. We all know that women that have twins, sometimes the skin can retighten perfectly. But then again, women that are having twins are relatively young, and they only are stretched for 6 of those 9 months. So everybody has a different rate that the skin will come back in. But obviously, when you're older, when the skin's stretched past a certain amount, and then based on different genetic predilections, the skin remains, and it gets in the way of exercise a lot of times. You have a flap of skin that's moving. It's very disconcerting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I luckily got connected with Dr. Hayworth and his incredible team over at his plastic surgery center that cut off all the excess skin on my legs. And
we will be doing an episode on that later on. It just takes me a minute to come back from it because things that I witnessed were so gross. And I'm like,
yeah, and guys, just so you know how awesome my best friend Kelly is, even though she does abuse me on the Let's Abuse Jeff Beecher starring Kelly Osbourne show every day. She did sit with me for 2 weeks, night and day, washed me, cleaned me, clothed me, and took care of me like the best friend in the world. She's the greatest.
You don't understand. I had to sleep in the same bed as him for 10 days. And because he would go what I call walkies. I'd be like, Jeff, where are you going? He'd be up in the middle of the night just like walking around. I'm like, what are you doing? You're covered in Also, he got to wear this really amazing suit afterwards. It's very tight. It's kind of like a full body Spanx that has just an
very
opening.
Melrose. Did you get it on Melrose?
No, it just has like an opening hole for like the butt and the dick. And he was just like walking around, and I'm like, Jeff, what are you doing? It's like the things that I've been through with you. It's crazy.
It's so funny, though, because I'm going to sadly agree with Jeff on one point is that, even when you have a surgery like that and you're putting that incision at risk, you do have to move. And I, as a doctor that's had a lot of people that need skin reduction. I didn't get this from nowhere, Kelly. One of the greatest doctors on the planet told me,
I need to get the blood flowing. I need to move. I'm like,
He needed his adrenaline. He needed his
mind control over me. He's been manipulating me for 2 decades. He
needed his endorphins that you cut him off on, and you got to keep moving. And the plastic surgeons understand.
See, I don't make this up, Kelly. He puts it in my head.
Keep moving. Plastic surgeons have their slice of the pie. They do this amazing surgery, and they're proud of the scars, and they want to keep those scars together and looking perfect. I'm like, I don't want to break that habit that you just said you have to do for 21 to 30 days. He has this great habit of exercise. Can we let somebody that's depending on regular exercise to maintain weight loss, can we have them sit for a month, as the plastic surgeons will ask you to, and break that habit of exercise to make a scar better? I don't give a about the scar. I care about the habit. I'm not going to let them break the exercise habit. So this is where a weight loss doctor like me and plastic surgeons, we have a difference of opinion because they want the surgery to turn out well. I want the patient to turn out well. Yeah. Which is a totally different gig. And so we have to accept some dehiscence of the scar. Now, this actually makes
a lot of sense about where you were in your head with all of this, because it was like we had one doctor saying, don't move, and I'm listening to him because I hadn't spoken to you. And Jeff's like, no, I've got to get the blood flowing, like screaming at me. I'm like, okay, now this all makes sense.
Okay, well, glad it came full circle. Now you see, would you guys call me a good crazy person?
Yeah. The good kind of crazy.
Larry calls me the happy sociopath.
Yeah. That's so funny. I actually have a meeting with Larry's son after this.
No, that's awesome. Send my love.
I will do. Okay, so let's wrap this up. Because we can talk about this. This isn't the only time we're going to talk about this on this podcast. But let's talk about the first steps you have to make in weight loss, because for
Well, let's
people
get, how
who-
about let's
No,
do that?
because
No, but let's get each our opinion. Your opinion, my opinion, doctor's opinion.
Okay. In my opinion, the first step you have to make is just the admission that you need to lose the weight, and the understanding and the commitment to yourself that that's what you want to do, because it is not like, oh, I'm just going to lose weight. It's not as easy as that. It's a commitment to yourself. You have to be in some sort of therapy, and you need support. You need to do this journey with someone else. There are so many support groups out there. There are so many different apps as well that you can join, where you can hold yourself accountable. I mean, there's some, the ones that are advertised on TV right now, some of them are even good. I'm not a fan of medication to lose weight. I am a fan of...
I tried that, everyone, and it was a disaster.
It's horrible. You turn into a sweaty
Psychopath.
Sweaty psycho, and you're angry
In my
at
case, I
everything.
cried every day for 6 months at the end of the...
I remember.
And
he'd be dipping sliced turkey into mustard, crying. That he'd be
all right,
eating
let's move on.
with his fingers.
Let's focus.
But that's a big point. It's because the rate of suicide is way up in people that do massive deprivation and don't get proper support. So this is you're really talking about a very metastable psychosocial situation with weight loss and this whole process, and you got to address it.
I agree.
I'll talk about me. We can segue to me. So I tried so many different things over the years. One being medication, like we talked about, you just talked about, and I would highly recommend, and everyone's different, but I would highly recommend no medication, because every time I've done medication or forms of different medications or multiple medications to lose weight, it ended horribly, horrifically. Mm-hmm. And the best things and the only things that worked for me was, fixing my head, meditation and therapy. That was the biggest thing, because that enabled me to then think clearly, to then change my diet and exercise. And the biggest thing was having Dr. Huizenga and my friends consistently push me to work out every day. And for me, working out a lot of times meant just walking for an hour or two, and just moving and rolling calls. Some people will be, oh, I'm too busy, I got too much going on. Well, I have a ton going on also, but I was able to at least move for an hour or two, and in my craziness, as Kelly calls it, 4 hours, but I still moved and I worked, and I was able to work, get my job done, and still lose weight and keep the blood flowing.
Also,
and then diet and learning how to eat, because I grew up in hotel rooms. I didn't know about nutrition. Yeah,
I didn't. I mean, I grew up. If you couldn't cook it in a microwave, you didn't eat it because you were on a tour bus. So granted, like, my mom was very big on like making sure that there were salads and stuff like that, but we didn't eat it. We didn't want that. I was like a kid, that wasn't yummy. And another thing that you were just saying.
Yeah, you guys had like bat heads and M&Ms. Literally,
gummy bears. Working out in the morning and waking up early really helped me with weight loss. Because I woke up really early in the morning and I'd go straight to the gym.
Circadian rhythm, pattern,
it
huge.
Really, really helped. And if you don't feel like working out, another thing I did was I walked. I walked everywhere. I would get those 10,000 steps in every day, no matter what. No matter what.
Yeah. I mean, we started 10 during the beginning of Corona.
Yeah.
We got up to 20.
Yeah, do you remember? I was like,
Yeah.
how many did you get today? And like, we became obsessive about it. And like, I think the biggest, I got like 23,000 steps in one day.
No,
one
my
time.
best friend David, he got his steps up to 20, and then he's like, we got to do 20, we got to do 20. And I was like, all right, 20. And
That's
I went
10 miles.
Yeah, it was a lot.
I mean, my thought always just echoes yours. The first thing is recognition. I know when Biggest Loser started, I was kind of against this. It was like an exploitative thing where they'd make people take their shirts off and they'd show their belly. But in retrospect, a lot of the contestants said, that really was a germinal moment for me when I had to look in a mirror, which nobody wants to. I had to admit that I was morbidly overweight. I had to admit something needed to be done. And, you're covering it. Everybody's got spandex pantses. People don't know their waist size. They don't see their waist. They don't see themselves. And so the first thing really is you do have to recognize it. And then my thing, and this is where I maybe hit Jeff too hard over the head, you have to understand what the ramifications are. I mean, we have people in our culture right now that are beautiful people, motivated, incredibly talented. Say, a very popular singer. This is a beautiful woman. This is a talented, great personality individual. So there's nothing wrong there. But the problem is that individual, if she doesn't change, will die 15 to 20 years earlier. Otherwise, what's the problem with being overweight? There's really no problem with being overweight, except that it leads to certain bad outcomes. You don't sleep as well. You're more anxious. You're more depressed. You get these diseases, and then you die. That's not okay.
Let's just talk quickly because we have a couple more minutes about the sleep apnea part, because so many people call me that are overweight and they're not even calling me about dieting. They're like, I can't sleep. I'm waking up. I'm choking. I have the sleep apnea.
Part for me was also what led me to drink more and do more drugs, because I couldn't ever sleep.
And then that has a background, because when you do drugs, you sleep,
and then
you go to sleep,
then you're
but you
tired
don't
in
get
the morning.
sleep.
Doc, and then you're tired in the morning. So how do you wake up, right? And you take another drug or another, speed up thing or whatever.
I was doing.
And the drugs don't get you natural sleep, and then you need more drugs, and it's a downward spiral.
And that's the whole thing. It's about breaking these cycles, being confident enough in yourself to say, fuck it. I don't care what you say about me. I love me. I'm going to do this for me. And that, for me, was a huge turning point.
One of the best things, and I hope people actually watch this documentary because it really, really helped me, was Jen and Larry made me watch Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. You ever watch that documentary, Kel? You watched it,
No,
right?
I've never seen it.
So it's about this guy that juices for 90 days. Mm-hmm. And then we all started getting into green juice and juicing. And when I was still morbidly obese, just cleaning out my insides and stopping with bread and sugars stopped this, well, not stop, but calm down the sleep apnea incredibly. And it helped me sleep. I was still fat.
Anything that loses weight is going to help you. I'm going to take a little demur on the juices, because that's taking one of the best things ever, fruit and vegetable, and you're pre-digesting it. I want my body to burn the calories to digest it, and you're just presenting the body with a caloric portion of that vegetable, the juice. So I'm going to go give a little pushback on that. I'm huge on natural fruits, natural vegetables, not so much the juices.
Just so we're clear, I don't like the juice I'm drinking right now, which is a orange and apple and all that. I barely ever drink that.
It's my favorite one.
It's Kelly's, and I actually brought it for her, but then I needed it.
Why not just have the orange and the apple? That's what I'd like you to do. The ingredients to here, just sit down and eat those fruits in the whole. Then you get the fiber, and then the sugar goes in much more slowly, and your body can handle it.
This is Kelly's favorite. I brought it for her, and then I stole it. Yes.
I knew you did.
I do just the green juices. I do the very low calorie green juices, and they're like my fuel, and I love them.
See, the reason why I've replaced candy with fruit juice, if that makes sense. Like, sometimes when you're going through the day and you're like, oh my God, I want something sweet, I'll drink.
Fruit juice is candy with more vitamins in it.
Yeah.
It's a better form of candy, but just recognize it's candy. I still have bread. Bread's not good for you, but I say bread for dessert. I go, I want a dessert. So I have a really great piece of French bread with some butter. That's my total over-the-top dessert. Everybody else is paying $15 for a quote-unquote real dessert. But just so you recognize what you're having.
Yeah.
Just recognize it. Call it what it is.
All right.
Dr. Huizenga, will you come back on our show later to talk about more of this with us? Because we could talk about this for probably about 10 episodes and still not cover everything.
Just we'll make sure that you don't catch Jeff next time I come on. That's all.
Look, it was meant to be, because now I'm kick-started, and like I feel guilty. I have all the shame.
No guilt.
No, but I do. But it is real, and I do, and it's motivated me. And the next time I see you, Doc, I'm going to be back on my track, and you'll see on my social media, and I'm going to start my 90-day workout cycle, which will turn into forever for the rest of my life again. Because I was thrown off from the surgery, because I was put on medication. I did take too much medication.
No question.
I did start eating shitty again. I fell off all the habits and lifestyle changes I made during Corona.
Self-correct. Ferociously masturbating several times a day.
I wish.
That's part of it.
I wish. Anyway, so yes, thank you guys. I appreciate you both.
Great.
And I just want to thank our listeners again. Thank you so much for listening to us natter on about weight loss. Yeah, and let's and you should follow Kelly if you know him, at Kelly Osbourne, or me at Jeff Beecher, and the Great Doctor. What's your Instagram? Dr. Huizenga. Spell Huizenga. Huizenga. It's hard for me too. Even in my texts, it's spelled wrong. It's so funny. I was H-E on it. Anyway, so that's Dr. Huizenga, Kelly Osbourne, Jeff Beecher. Follow and download our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and at the Podcast One app, and wherever you get your favorite podcast. And subscribe. Click that subscribe button to our podcast. We have a new episode every Tuesday. Every Tuesday. So don't miss it. Get it, you guys. Thank you so much. What you call freaks, we call family. Everyone's welcome. We love you.
Love you guys.